All right. I'm not sure if this is picking up where the last one left off, but we went a little crackly. So I disappeared, and hopefully everyone will find me again. I thought it might just hook into the old broadcast, but it doesn't seem like it did. So, oh well, we'll try again. Here you come back again. See if this is any better. Tell me if it's all crackly. I feel like my hair looks like a witch has been pulled through a bush backwards. I just have to fix my hair. It's gone a bit, I think it's gone a bit menopausal, my hair, actually. Do you think? I think it is going quite weird lately. Okay, let's have a look. I'll be really careful with touching it. Oh, it's still crackly. It's terrible. So terrible. Okay, just give me 1 second. Just 1 second. I'm going to have to go and call Mr. Myrtle. Just a minute. Just got my phone and I'll send him a message. Crackly. Oh God, it's just hopeless. Okay, I'm thinking, I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. It could be the computer. But next week I'll try his. His is my son's one. It happened after I leaned forward and adjusted the cable. Okay, let's just see. Could be the cable. Yeah, I think it is. And I'm wondering if it's the port on my computer. It's terrible. Terrible thing. Okay, can we bear it? Can we just keep going? Even though it's crackly? Is it really terrible? If I sit back, is it better? Tell me if it's a bit better if I sit back. He's going to come. I've just summoned him to come out here. Okay, right. Look, we're talking about shawls. Let's just crack on. Oh, here he is with the crackle. I'm live and it's crackly and they can bear it, but I turned it off. It seemed to be when I moved my computer a little bit and then it went, and so I'm wondering if it's the port or the cable or something's happened to the cable. So I went off and I came back on and it was still crackly, even though I made everything nice and tight. What do you think? I could try Wi-Fi. All right. Or should I just do that? All right. So should I just go onto the Wi-Fi? All right. Here we go. We're going to try something else. Da-da-da-da. Sorry about this, guys. We are going to resolve this. There. You got another port. Okay. Am I back? Oh, I'm not quite back. Let's see if I'm back. Da-da-da. It's looking for the Wi-Fi. Doesn't seem to want to go on. It's like searching for the Wi-Fi. Still searching. Going on over in the Hangout. For those of you who are on YouTube, it's over in the Hangout, and it's really nice watching you all make little things. I noticed there's a lot of people making little single skein shawls. So I'm seeing quite a few flickers, and what was the other ones I saw? A real stale and quite a few bejeweled. So I just thought I'd remind you, bejeweled is the shawl I put out recently, which is this little 1 skein one that was in Wardrobe Toolbox. And remember, it just came out the other week. And it's the one with the little jewels on the outside. Although you don't have to put the jewels, but it is a lovely little 1 skein shawl for someone just to whip around their neck. A good little quick present for someone, not too long. It's a nice little entry into shawls as well. So I see lots of people making bejeweled over there. And I thought, oh, I'll show you another one that you may have forgotten about. That's actually a really nice other single skein shawl. Crackle's gone. Yay. Is this one, and this is Lisette. I love this one. So Lisette is knitted side to side. So we start with the point and we knit her up like so. And she sort of has this crochet vibe, I think. Well, that was the plan when I made her. She uses this fabulous big open lace pattern with ribbing in between. Oh, here comes all your messages. Honestly, they're just all flying in now. Fantastic. I don't know. I froze. Oh, I froze. Okay. You got another thought. I froze. Yep. No, I'm coming back. You're all back. You're live. Seem to be better. Not too bad. Better. I'm back. Yay. I froze. Oh, and the crackle came back. Okay, just tell me. It does look crocheted. Yeah. It does look crocheted, but it's not. It's knitted. And it's actually a really good... it's sort of like a blue-black, this color. It's not black. It's like this sort of blue-black color. And it's actually a really good shawl because I think it has good structure and it doesn't get sort of out. It keeps its shape really well. This is the shape of it here. And I just think it's rather fun. I like this one a lot, actually. And I think that she's one of these unforgotten ones. And I'm sort of thinking if you knitted her, you could knit her in something sort of a bit more subdued like this. But actually, if you knitted her in a really bright color, I think she would be fantastic because I think the overall, no, I have to fix, I think it must be, I don't know, I'll try my son's computer next week. But I think overall, she's such a statement with the stitching that if you added, I think, a little bit of bright color to her, I think she'd just be fantastic because you'd really notice her then. So she's a good one. I think she's a good one. So that's Lisette. Don't forget about her. I think she'd actually make a really good gift for someone. Now, I just used a bog standard sock yarn. This is an old sock yarn from Happy Go Knitting. But if you added silk to her, she would grow more and she would be a bit more slinky. But this is a nice one where you can get away with sort of a good sock yarn, a nice twist in it. That would give you a little bit more gloss to it. But it really, she can carry a lot of different fibers, I think, this shawl. I like the kind of border that we've got. And you see that she's got this PK edge that you knit up the side and then you carry it along and knit it at the end as well. So you don't have a bind off per se. You have a PK edge that carries up the side. So she's sort of got these nice little details in her as well. Yep. Yeah. You just need the time. That's it, Terry. But she's actually, I'm sort of tempted. It's tempting to knit this one again, really, because I think that's one of those ones that you would reach for if it was the color that you just loved to throw on. I think she's a really good one to reach for. She's sort of interesting. Okay, I thought I'd show you another couple here. So these are two that people mention a lot. At the moment, I keep hearing these a lot, and this is one of them. Lots of people have made this one, I know, and this is Siren Song. And so these are two skein shawls. A few that I'm going to show you now are two skein shawls, super useful where you want, I know every time you want to knit that one. It just is a nice way to remember some of the ones that are out there that I forgot about that one. It's a good one. But two skein shawls, they just take a little bit longer, obviously, probably twice as long because there's two skeins rather than one. But actually, they're not huge two skein songs, right? Two skein shawls, not songs. So this is Siren Song, and I use two skeins of Le Benami, just this beautiful gold, stunning gold, and then a lovely sort of a creamy color that had lots of speckles through it, and all the speckles in there, they're from the creamy color. Oh, actually they're pretty much from the creamy color because the gold is fairly it's fairly solid. It's semi-solid, but it's fairly uniform, that color. So we've got this tweedy pattern that happens at the top, but you can see that the pale color really dominates in the tweed. On the back, the yellow dominates. And the tweedy color dominates with the white color, which is then your accent color in the border. So you can think about the yarns that you're using for this, right? It'd be handy if I made a list of your shawls and sorted into how many skeins they need. Yeah, I could probably tag them like that on my website, I could probably tag them so that you can have one skein, two skein like that. I probably could actually. I'll just have to sit down and do it. Someone said I've knitted 3 Siren Song shawls, and one was for my sister's birthday. I love her. Oh, that's so nice. That's really good. So she's like fabulous, isn't she? She really is fabulous, and she looks really good, kind of tied up with a scarf or something else interesting into her as well. But I think Siren Song is one of the ones that she just sings. She really sings, and just gives your outfit just a little bit of something special. So she's a triangular shawl. She's a shape that I haven't used that much because I actually, it was yesterday. It was on yesterday or the day before. We don't have this problem on Zoom, I have to say, with the crackle. I don't have the problem on Zoom. That's what befuddles me. But anyway, we talked about shaping for shawls, and this one doesn't use the kind of increase on one side and decrease on the other side. It just increases on one side. So it's a slightly different shape. It ends up being a bit shorter and fatter, right? So it's a different sort of triangle. And I haven't used this shape that often, but I like it. It's pretty good. It's got a nice little silver tail as well. It's always these nice little interesting details. Anyway, I think she's pretty fabulous, this one. So I think you can wear it. So much easier to block with straight shots sides it is. Yeah. So she's a fun one, and I think she will be a fun one to give to people as well as just to keep that yourself. So that's one that's mentioned a lot. And another one that's mentioned a lot is this one. At the moment, I'm hearing people talk about this one quite often. And this is Thundercloud Kisses. So she, again, is a triangular shawl, but look at the length on this. So I've got a knot on one end, but look at the length on this. Much longer and not as deep. But because this is the one where I use the different kind of increases. So I increased every row on one side, and then I increased and then decreased on the other side. I think that's how I do it. And so it ends up being a long, I haven't knitted one like this for ages, actually. I should do that. I mean, there's lots I can revisit these shapes, which work really well. So this is a great shawl with this fantastic, interesting border. Same kind of idea, thinking about the yarn you're using and what you want to be your sort of accent color through the body, but then your pop color at the end. Sort of thinking about that before you start. And I've got tutorials to help you with this border, which is pretty fantastic if you ask me. I do like big holes. I think they're really fun. But Thundercloud Kisses, I originally put this out as Cloud Kisses, and I had this beautiful apricot version of the shawl, and I actually ended up giving it to one of my kids' teachers, or several of my children had this teacher. One child had her several years, that's right. She's absolutely fantastic teacher. I know maybe several of them did have her, actually, now I think about it. But anyway, she was a lovely teacher, and I gave her the shawl. But so I did this one, which is yarn floozy, silk merino blend. You can see the shine in it already, and it just drapes so beautifully. So I just have a knot in one end because that's fun, and then you can wear it so that you sort of show off the border. It's interesting, just an interesting kind of shawl. Lots of little bobbles that happen through here, and then little kisses, I call them. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful shawl. So I hear people talk about this one a lot. I think it's a good one to try. Look at the colours in that. The colours in that yarn are just stunning. I've forgotten the name of that. It's something like kryptonite or a name like that. I can't remember, of this beautiful, beautiful green that's in the shawl. That's yarn floozy, that one. Thundercloud Kisses was the first truly metal shawl I made, and Cashy silk merino, similar colours. I sent it to my late brother in British Columbia so he could gift it to his wife. Oh, that's so nice, Sabrina. What a lovely thing to do. Yeah, on your to-do list. Well, that's a nice one to go back to. Sometimes it's good to go back and revisit some of these old things because there's some real treasures hiding in there. Here's another one that's just 2 skeins, and this one has been very popular, and I haven't seen many people pick this one up lately. But, oh, it's got a little pull in it, which I have to deal with. Look at that. Sometimes they get little, that's from having it on my stand, I think, and they get caught on things, earrings and hooks and stuff like that. I'll fix that up. But this one is, remind me what this one is called, because it's just escaped Molten. It's called Molten. I haven't forgotten. This is also yarn floozy, and this is 2 skeins of yarn. And look, it's a different shape. This is actually a great shape. I really like this shape. I've done a few in this shape and I want to do more. This is one of those triangular shawls that flicks up, and it's just the way you work the increases that it flicks up. It's got sort of, it's like a cross between a crescent and a triangle. So you end up getting this lovely long length to it and not so much depth, which I find really easy to wear because you don't end up with so much at the front and you end up with a bit more length. So you can tie her up if you want into a knot around your chin, around your chest. So she ends up being a pretty cool shawl. So Molten has got this sort of interesting, well, it's just enough to keep you interested, really, patterning through the body. It's mostly garter, so if you're thinking about something to use, a beautiful single would work really well for this. But this is a silk merino, this one, 50-50 silk merino, I think. And so it's got like a little bit of interest through the body, so it's not just a big blanket of garter. And then it's got a pretty lace on the border, and then an I-cord just to pull everything together. It's got an I-cord bind off on the bottom. So she has this one line of increases through the middle and sort of has a scooped bottom, and then increases along either side. It's winged. Yeah, it is. It's sort of winged. Sabrina says, I've made Molten twice. Both turned out different sizes, since my tension on the first one was obviously far tighter. So that's actually the nice thing about shawls, is it's not the end of the world. I don't swatch for shawls. I just go for it. And I try and leave you about 10 grams in a skein, an 100-gram skein. I try and leave you about a tenth, 10%. So you've got a little bit to play with. But, if you find your stitches are really tight, then your shawl is going to be smaller and you will use less yarn. If you find your stitches get really big, well, that's when you run the risk of running out. But the worst thing that's going to happen is it's going to be a little bit big, right? Someone's asked about DK or sport shawls. I'm going to show you a whole lot of those next week, actually. I've got just one here that I'm going to show you, but otherwise I'll bring you some next week, some heavier ones. I've got one more week to talk to you about shawls. So Molten is a really lovely one. A lot of people have made this one as gifts for people. I think it's quite an accessible shawl for someone that is new to shawls or not really like into this whole thing about knitted shawls. I think this is a lovely one to give them because it doesn't feel too out there for them, but it's actually super, super wearable. Let's have a little look. Someone said, here we go. I've got a few more comments here that have popped up. I like your rattan shawl. That's another one I saw people knitting actually in the hangout. I like your rattan shawl. I didn't do the through the back loops, just the regular knit and pearls, and it turned out great. And you used up one skein of Mad Tosh Light. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's really nice. I told you I knitted that shawl twice when I first made it. When I first designed it, because I decided I needed to put the twists in it, so I ripped the whole thing and did it again. It's, I live and learn. Amanda said, I made this one, Molten, in 2 singles, super squishy, and gifted it to your mother-in-law for Christmas the same year. The pattern came out nice. That's really good. So the pattern was out 2019, wasn't it? Charmian's had the yarn for Molten waiting to be cast on for 2 years. Someone else said I made Molten for my sister-in-law and she loves it. She's an artist, so I went for variegated lime, cream, raspberry, etc. and a raspberry for the border. It looked great. Oh, I bet it does. I bet it does look great. Someone said, yes, I've given the 2. I've knitted away. It's just a bit big for me. Yeah, because you're a bit shorter, Terry, so I think it gets quite long, doesn't it? I think that, yes, you see, lots of people have knitted this one as a gift. It's a good gift knitting, and it's not overly challenging for us. It's not going to like push us way out into our got to be thinking all the time kind of knitting. The lace isn't overly tricky. The body is, just kind of flies off and you're just knitting away with the odd bit of purling in there as well. That works quite well. Okay, so another one which I personally love, it's one of my favorite shawls, perhaps because I really enjoyed working it out, just the working out of it. Is Skein Sisters. I love the shawl. Could also be because I adore the colors of this beautiful Circus Tonic yarn. It is a single. I use singles. This was another example of where I've used dirty lace. So I've got, it's knitted on the back instead of purled, and that always appeals to me. So we've got stripes, dirty lace, short rows. See how it's got the short rows in it. And then look, this is the bit that just absolutely I love, is the border. The border is all short rows. It's a little bit fiddly. There's quite a few stitch markers, but it's worth it. I love this shawl. It really is great. Now, it's not quite 2 skeins. I think it's about 2.5. So for one of them, you need a little bit more than, you might need about 1.5 of one. And I actually can't remember the exact numbers, but if you have some spare skeins lying about, then this will be a good one to try for that. But then having said that, you could actually you could substitute in different colors all the way through. You don't need to use the same color in every place. So you could, because I think the pinky color uses over a skein. I think it uses about 1.5, and I think the grey colour uses about 1 skein, or at least most of a skein, I think. Yeah, it looks really interesting. It is a really interesting knit. It's easier than you think, but it's just fun. I love the way the little stripes fade away into nothing at that end, and then are quite long at that end. I do really enjoy making these sort of designs. They really appeal to me. So, yeah, that border is pretty fantastic. I should use that border again, really. I really like it. I could add something else interesting into it. So that's Skein Sisters. But you see how you could just throw in other colours in different places. So you could use up scraps pretty nicely in this one as well to do different parts of it. And you work each of these little short row sections separately and then pull it all together at the bottom. So that's Skein Sisters. So that's it's definitely a thought. Think a little bit when you're knitting. It'll keep you entertained. It really will keep you entertained. So if you want to bang something out for a present, it's probably not the one that you just knock out for a present, but it is one if you just feel like, oh, I just feel like getting my teeth into something, but not something too big. I think this is quite a good one to pick up, to have a go with. Just if you want to experiment a little bit with short rows and some dirty lace. I like dirty lace. Okay, so this is like off the wall. This is totally different. But for those of you who do want something heavier, I haven't worn this one much this year, but for a couple of years there, because I've got another cowl that came out Wardrobe Toolbox that I have really worn a lot this year, that I've reached for all the time, which has a little twist in it. You'll see it next year. I'll put it out. But that's Viva. But this one, Hullabaloo, is a nice, heavy, big, chunky, well, it's an Aran, I think. It's a nice, chunky wool with these fabulous cables, which are reversible. They look great on both sides. And it's one that it knits up pretty fast. You knit it in the round. It doesn't have a Mobius twist or anything in it. Am I still crackly, just out of interest? I've zoomed to YouTube live. I've got no crackle. Oh yeah, I could zoom. Could I zoom into, I might be able to zoom into, yeah, I have to investigate that. Thank you, Judith. Zooming. But anyway, this one is knitted in the round. She's fun as, nice fat needles. It's just got this cable that you work all the way round. It actually would be a good one for a gift, right? It would be a really good one for a gift to give people, I think. And I wore this one, not as bad as before. Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. So I think this one is, I just really enjoyed this one. Throwing it on, I'm ready to roll. I feel like, I don't know, it feels like something that you might buy. This kind of knit, it feels like it's a little bit I actually don't know what happens in the shops particularly, but it feels like it could be just a little bit on trend. Do you think? Is that a thing? Could we even think about being on trend? I don't know what the trends are, so there we go. Who knows? But it does feel fun. It's fun, this knit. So there we are. That's Hullabaloo. Is it 1 skein or 2? I think it actually might be 3 skeins or 3. I feel like it's 3 skeins of Aran, I feel like. But if you wanted to use DK, you could use DK, and then it would just be smaller. It wouldn't have quite the length to it, and it wouldn't have the depth to it, and you wouldn't have the same kind of big, bold stitches in it. But yeah, it's definitely several skeins. I think it's several skeins of Aran weight, this one. Someone could tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it's several skeins. But you could also make it half as long if you wanted, and then just have it with a couple of cables and just pop it on like a tube. I quite like the fold in it. Yeah, it's 3. Yes, I thought so. It was 3 skeins of. It's Aran. I think it's an Aran. I don't think it's a bulky. I think it's an Aran weight yarn. It's lovely. The garter in it's really nice. Okay, and here's 2 more. I was just going to show you the last 2. So this one is what has been a favorite of mine, and this is Vela, and Vela is knitted in lace weight, and lace weight shawls, I have to say, are something else. Lace weight, anything is something else to me. There's just something so ethereal and gorgeous about lace weight. I absolutely love wearing a lace weight shawl. So you could actually put this one on lots of times. Oh no crackle now. That's good. 3 skeins of 164 yards each for this one. Yeah, 3 skeins, 164. Yeah, that'd be about right. Like an Aran, I think. Awesome. No crackle now. Good. I don't know what the issue is. Very strange. Okay. Anyway, this is Vela. Vela is a lace weight. She's lovely to knit. She's super adaptable, and there's a blog post on my website that talks about how to adapt this shawl to make her wider, narrower, longer, shorter, etc., because you can change her up. I used a skein that had, I believe, 1,000 meters in the skein, but if you only have 800 meters, you could make it differently. I used a fiber spate silk merino, and it's just so light and beautiful. It really is beautiful and light. So she starts with this border, which when you're knitting it will bias a lot. It will really bias a lot. When you block it, it all comes out straight again. And when by bias, it will just mean it will go on an angle. So it'll look quite odd when you're knitting it, because it will go on an angle and then straight, and you'll think, what's happening with my shawl? But it will block out perfectly. And then you move into this lace here, which is just a nice repeat. And you can see now how, I love the way the border goes into the lace, but you can see now how if you add extra repeats of the lace, you can make it wider, or you can make it narrower by knocking some off. You just have to think about how many are in the repeat. I think I told you that in the blog post. And then you knit that lace until you get to the end, and then you knit the other end, which is also a lovely flow into the lace. A lot of thinking goes into these and how you flow into the lace, and then you knit the fringe at the other end. But she's just so, it just feels so special to wear her. I love wearing this one. So I wear this one quite a lot in the winter. You can wear her pashmina style, like so, or you could just, wind her around a couple of times, throw her over. She's just so light and warm, just that beautiful little light warmth. She would make a beautiful gift for someone, but it is a fair amount of knitting in her if you wanted to make her as a gift for someone. And then finally, I thought I'd show you this one, because this one is similar. And actually, if you knitted this in lace weight, you would have another really light shawl. This, I used a Polworth yarn, which had about 500 meters per skein. And so I used 2 skeins. So it's it's like a 3-ply. It's like a light fingering I used for this, and it's quite a woolly yarn, so it sort of has a bit of a kind of a university scarf feel going on. But I've seen it knitted in this is Joss. I've seen her knitted in silk merinos, and she's stunning. And you can just use a little less. You can use just a single skein, and you can get her out of a single skein. People have, and she's just a little bit smaller than on the than the one I've done here. But equally, someone like Happy Go Knitty, Helene at Happy Go Knitty, does those beautiful skeins of Kashgar. Is it Cash? I think it is Kashgar. I think it's Kashgar. And I feel like I've said that wrong now, but I think it is. And those are 500 meters per skein. And they have the Yak Silk Merino, I think is the blend of those. So it will be a overall softer, bit of a dark halo going on, lovely and drapey sort of knit. But yeah, I think that those would work beautifully as well. But so this is an interesting one, both because you could just take the pattern and knit it in something that's completely different. Sikkim. That's right. You're right. I knew I said that wrong. Sikkim. Yeah, Kashgar is her silk merino, I think, isn't it? No, I think Sabrina got it. Sikkim. It's her Sikkim yarn, pretty sure. The fingering weight yak merino silk. I should know because I've done shawls in it. But anyway, this one, yeah, think about how to take Joss, because she's super fun. And in fact, she was one that I was sitting with someone at Knit August Nights recently, and he was wanting to knit this one. Or maybe he had knitted this. I can't remember now. But it felt very unisex. He was really keen on having a bash at this for himself. I think he had already knitted it from memory. I can't remember now. But look how interesting it is. It's really interesting the way it knits, because you have this fun play with the colours on either side. It's not tricky either. It's really, really not tricky. I knitted this when I was camping. One summer when I was camping, I knitted this sitting outside my tent. Knit, 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 knit. I designed it then, and I just wrote all my notes down on my bits of paper. And it's not tricky. You can knit it on holiday if you want. So yeah, it just has that interesting mix of colours, and then you have that lovely spine down the middle of navy or whatever colour you choose. But yeah, it's a really fun one to go, right? Keep a switch on to knit. Yeah, it's hard to decide. Sikkim is the single spun. It's 120 grams, 480 meters. That's the one, Sikkim. Yeah. So I think that would be a nice choice for this. But or if you just knit it in a regular fingering, it'll come out a little bit smaller. But also think about maybe taking a lace, a beautiful, soft, light, long lace, and knit it in a lace. And it will be, you can knit it on big needles, so it could be quite airy. It might be a little bit smaller. It might turn out a little bit smaller unless you've got quite big, your needles were quite a bit bigger, but you have to decide how much you want it to be potentially caught on things if it got a bit too big. And I think two just beautiful silk colours, soft colours. Oh, it would be absolutely heavenly, I think, this one. So that's Joss. So I wanted to finish off by showing you her. And I thought, well, there's some good ideas, actually. There's lots of nice ones when you start looking back at old shawls. And then if we start thinking again, all the things I try and get you, I emphasize all the time. Think about what yarn are we going to use and what colors and how are we going to put things together. And could you do something like off the wall and interesting and actually take a mohair for one of these and mix it with silk? And what would that look like? Amazing. So, yeah, ways of taking old patterns and turning them into something kind of fun. So that's what I wanted to show you today. So I'm going to talk about shawls one more time next week, and I think I'll bring some heavier shawls. I have to write that down because I will forget. So I'll bring some heavier weight shawls, I think. And those, of course, tend to be, not always, but they tend to be more yarn. So it's not really a matter of picking up one skein and knitting a heavier shawl, at least not the ones I have done. They tend to be bigger, blanket-like wraps that you wrap yourself in, and that for me they have, except for this little hullabaloo, but even that is 3 skeins just to create this much. So some of my bigger shawls are like 5 skeins of yarn. Is Friday Maker's Spotlight going to feature tomorrow? I have a restock of needle cases and some darning mushrooms. It hopefully will feature tomorrow. I will check in with Morgan because she posts that up for me, so I'll check in with her and fingers crossed it will be up in the morning, and we can make that happen. It should come up every Friday. Fingers crossed it should be there. So yes, that would be great to have needle cases and darning mushrooms in there. So if you have anything to put in the Friday Spotlight, do that, because it's a good place to for people to check in and see what you've got for sale. That might be useful for your truly myrtle knits. It's a good place to come. I'm really sorry about the crackling. It's constantly bothering me. I'm trying to get on top of it. So I think I'm still stumped. I'm still a bit stumped, and but hopefully it hasn't been too bad. So you've been able to listen without having too much crackle. I think if I sit back and I don't touch anything, but next week I will try my son's computer. It's busy today. I said he's busy today. He said to me, I could use it, but it's actually uploading a gazillion photos that we've taken over the last 20 years onto some hard drive. It's good I've got people that are doing that for me, because otherwise it would never happen. So he's putting all those onto a hard drive, apparently, and sorting them out for us and discovering how many photos we took of him as a baby. I've sounded fine for you in Whangaparoa. Oh, look, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know what the issue is. Anyway, everyone, have a really, really lovely week. I'll see you next week for more shawl talk. We have got a sweater coming out at the end of the month. So now is the time to dive into shawls, get those shawls knitted, because I have got a jumper coming for you that I think lots of you will love. And you'll see some people have been posting theirs I saw Terry posted hers in the Hangout, and it looks just stunning. So I'm looking forward to bringing you that. But next week we'll talk more about shawls, and then we're kind of creeping to the end of the year. I just cannot believe how fast this year has gone. Looking at your Ravelry page, did you know you can have a bundle to sort patterns out? I have got bundles. It's just that they're woefully not updated. They're woefully out of date. I'll write that down as on my list of things that could be managed. But I have got bundles. But you could also, on Ravelry, the other thing you could do is you can do a search on Truly Myrtle, and you could narrow it down by 1 skein, 2 skein, 3 skein, things like that. So that's a good place to do it there. Okay, everybody, have a lovely week. I'll see you next week, and knit heaps and heaps of knitting. Good luck. See you later, everyone. Bye.